Hey guys, welcome to Mitch's Music. If you are new to the channel, welcome. I do a lot of videos on tabs for mostly country, but also classic rock and pretty much anything you ask me to do. And I've started doing these live streams in the morning about different topics. And this week I'm starting off with sort of a beginner bend. But hopefully, even if you've been playing for a little while, these are some things that can help you as well. And if you are interested, I have a chord sheet in the description below. And with that, it shows you all of the open chords, but it also has a thing right below that will show you how chords kind of relate to each other. So, like if you're playing in the key of G, and like what chords are most often used in the key of G. And we'll do a video completely on that type of stuff a little later. But today we are just going to talk about open chords, getting started with them, um, how to approach chords, or how I feel the best way to approach chords would be. And that's pretty much it, guys. And if you have any questions, just leave those in the comments. I will get to those as soon as I can. And so let's just talk through the open chords. So some of the first ones that you learn, you've got G, and there are two different ways to play G, and it really doesn't matter which one you play, and I can talk a little bit more about this later as well. But you have this G right here that these two fingers are always going to be the same. This one I just have on the high E string. You can also do a version of it where your pinky's on the high E string and your third finger moves up to the third fret, and that sounds like this. So the only real difference is most of these chords are going to have three notes in them. And so for a G chord, you've got a G, you've got a B, and you've got a D. And so all you're doing by moving your finger from here to here is when I play this string open, I've got a B. So now I'm playing G, B, D, G, B, G. And when I move it to here, I'm playing G, B, D, G, D, G. And so the main thing is when you're playing it this way, you have two B's, which is the third, and so that's going to kind of stand out just a little bit more. When I'm strumming, I tend to use this version where I'm using both of these because it doesn't. Um, Basically, what's going to happen is that open B is going to ring out a lot, and if to me, I like to control that a little bit more, and it this one is a little less offensive, and so that's kind of why I use it. So that's G. Another open chord is C. Um, then you've got D, and I'm just going to go through all of the major chords first. No real difference in any of these, so you guys know. You can look at these at any chord charts, and if you have any questions on how to read chord charts, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll do a video on that. So G, C, D, and interestingly enough, those three are related. And so if you are playing in the key of G, most likely your main chords are going to be G, C, and D. And so that is a great key if you are a beginner to start with. G also, when you go to a fourth chord, it is more likely to have another chord that is going to be an open chord, like another minor chord that is going to be an open chord. So we've got G, C, D. We've also got A. So here's A. All right. And then you've got E. And if I was playing in the key of A, my main notes would be A, D, and E. And then let's see, what have I done? A, D, G, C. We've got F, and this particular one, all of these technically are movable. So you can move these around as long as you can cover the open string. So with this one, I'm not playing any open strings. So technically this is not an open chord. It's just one that is a little bit more easily available to play in the first fret. And so if I play it here, it's an F. If I move it up to here, it's an F sharp. Move it up to here, it's a G. Move it up to here, it's a G sharp, A, and you can just keep going all the way up. And so any of these chords that are open are movable as long as you can cover the strings that are open. So for instance, if I was playing a D chord and I wanted to move it up to another, like to play it in a different, to move this position and play a D chord, I can do that as long as I'm playing these, just these bottom three strings. Now, if I'm trying to play the full thing, I've got to cover this open string. And so say that I wanted to move it from a D, and if I move it up a half step, it would be an E flat. Now I could just play this, but if I put this and let's see, what am I doing wrong? Oh, there we go. And if that sounds kind of weird, I need to get some fret work done on the guitar. My frets right here are kind of starting to I'm kind of tearing a hole in a few of them, and so it's starting to clank just a little bit. Also need to change my strings, but so let's go through those chords again. You got G, C, D, A, E, and then you've got your minor chords. You've got E minor, A minor, and D minor. And like I said, I'm just running through all of the possibilities for open chords today. And I wanted to also talk a little bit about getting started to play the chords. So when you start with chords, and when I started with chords, they did not sound the way that they do now. I had fingers getting in the way of strings that I wanted to play and ring out. I wasn't pressing down hard enough. All of those things happen. And so when I approach chords, I think about it in two different ways. One is making sure the chord sounds clean. And so when I'm playing a G, this one has all of these two open strings in the middle. And so most likely if I play it and it sounds like this, you hear that D is not sounding right now, and that's because this finger is covering it, and I kind of did that on purpose. So one of the things that most people don't notice is when you are playing your chords, your this joint right here needs to bend forward just a little bit so that only the tip of your finger is touching the string. If the tip of your finger is touching the string, then you shouldn't have a problem with your finger getting in the way of other strings. A lot of people, when they press down, their joint scoots back like that. Then you have all of your finger surface area touching the string. So try to move everything this way, up just a little bit, and make sure the tip of your finger is touching the string. Also, use your thumb in the back portion to push down so that you get it all the way, you get a good pressure on the strings. So that's one thing. Work on getting all of the strings to sound. Run through the chords that you're going to do in your song. And that's it. After that, when you're actually playing the song, it's gonna be annoying if you're not covering the strings, they're not making the sound that you want, but just worry about strumming when you're playing the song. So once you get into playing whatever song you're playing, just worry about your strumming. Don't worry about the way the chord sounds. And then just kind of go through that process every time. Check your chords to begin with. Then when you get into playing, just worry about your strumming. Even if your chords are not coming out the way that you think that they should. Now, as far as moving from one chord to another, one of the things that I like to do is to start off with putting a gap in between the chords. So say my progression is G, C, D. What I would do, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. So if you're trying to get your strumming pattern down, just start with a general downstroke and then give yourself 4 beats before you move to the next chord. So say I'm moving G, C, D, G, I would go G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then take a number away every time until you get a faster changer. So the next time through, if you can do 4 pretty easily, move that middle measure to 3. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then just keep moving down until you don't have any spaces in between. All right, now moving on to strumming. Strumming is something that takes a lot of people a while to get. And so when you're doing strumming, I listen to the rhythm and I try to match the rhythm first. But before you do that, you should get used to just doing a down and up stroke. So what I was just doing with the 1, 2, 3, 4, all we're going to do now is we're going to add a down and an up. So we're just going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And notice that I'm using that last beat to change from one chord to the other. So like you do not have to be, you're gonna have a little bit of time in between to move. So make sure that when you're moving from chord to chord, you're at the next chord by 1, no matter what it takes. So like if you have to even spend most of the 4th beat of the previous measure to move, that's fine. And then just try to bring down that gap a little bit. So I'm probably using about half of a beat to move to the next chord right now. So now, once you get your rhythm after that, the main thing is deciding which downs to mute or not play and which ups to not play. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're still doing that same down and up. You're just either not playing some or playing them lighter or something like that to match whatever rhythm you are doing. And next week, one of the things I want to do is I'm going to take some songs, and if you have any suggestions of what you would like me to do, we're going to go through how to play chords in particular different songs. So I'm going to do some strumming songs, some picking songs. We're going to talk about my theories on how to play those. And then when you guys come back this week, We're going to start with some general ideas on how to play classic country songs because there's very distinct rhythms that go with those that aren't always in newer songs. And so on Thursday and Friday of this week, we're going to talk through some classic country strumming patterns and get you guys set for next week, where I will go through some individual songs. So if you have a song that you would like me to do, even if it's not already on my channel, let me know in the comments below, and I will do it next week. Have a great day, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll answer those on Thursday before